Welcome to the next lecture of electrical machines. We were discussing the synchronous machines, and in this particular lecture we are going to cover the principle of operation of the synchronous machine. So the overview goes like this. Synchronous machines are generally doubly excited machines. That is, two electrical inputs are provided to it. Synchronous machines require two inputs that are electrical, and hence it is known as double excited machines. Its stator winding is given a three-phase supply. This is AC, whereas a DC supply is given to the rotor winding. So we require both AC and DC supply, hence it is known as doubly excited machines. The three-phase stator winding will carry the three-phase current, producing a three-phase rotating magnetic flux. So this is similar to the induction motor as well, where the rotating magnetic flux is produced due to the stator winding three-phase supply. At a particular instant, rotor and stator poles might be of the same polarity, that is north-north or south-south, causing a repulsive force on the rotor, and at a very next instant it will be north-south, causing attractive force. So synchronous machines can be going through a repulsive force or through an attractive force due to the presence of the same or different poles. But due to the inertia of the rotor, it is unable to rotate in any direction due to that attractive or repulsive force, and the rotor remains in the standstill condition. So it is the inertia of the rotor that cancel the repulsive or the attractive forces, and the rotor remains in the standstill condition. Hence, we say that synchronous machines is not self-starting. We know that three-phase induction motor are generally self-starting, but synchronous machines are not self-starting. Some mechanical means which initially rotate the rotor in the same direction as the magnetic field to a speed very close to the synchronous speed. So we required some mechanical means by which the rotor will be rotated at a speed very close to the synchronous speed of the rotating magnetic field. On achieving the synchronous speed ns, the magnetic locking occurs. So the rotor will now rotate at a speed of the synchronous speed due to the magnetic locking, and the machine continues to rotate even after removal of the external mechanical means. So the mechanical condition of rotating the rotor is required till the magnetic locking of the rotor takes place, after which the rotor will rotate at the synchronous speed. So here we can understand the principle through a figure. So this is the synchronous machine, which can be a generator or a motor. So when it is a generator, we say it to be a three-phase synchronous generator or the alternator. And when it is a motor, it is known as the synchronous motor. Now the field, uh, to produce the field, we required the field winding to be excited externally. So the main exciter, which is requiring a DC supply of 125 to 600 volt, will be given by an external DC supply. So in this case, we have explained the different type of excitation in the previous lecture. So here we have shown it with a DC exciter, which is a separately excited DC shunt machine. Now, once we give the DC supply to the field winding of the shunt, then it is acting as an exciter which excites the field winding of the synchronous machine, and the stator of the synchronous machine is given a three-phase AC supply, and hence the synchronous machine will operate either as a generator or as a motor. So the output of the generator will drive a prime mover, or the output of the motor will drive a mechanical load. So this is the basic principle of the synchronous machine. Now, if we go more deep into it, Generally, we supply three-phase AC supply to the stator winding, and those are balanced. So here A, B, and C are basically three-phase, which are 120-degree apart AC supply, and the rotor is shown for two poles in a very simple manner, north and the south pole, and separate excitation current is given from a separate excitation source, that is the DC, to excite the rotor. So hence it is known as the double excited synchronous machine. Now here we will getting a three-phase AC input which are 120-degree apart from each other. So field winding is supplied with a DC excitation. This voltage goes around 125 to 600 volt, and different type of excitations are used depending upon the size of the alternator that we have discussed in the previous lecture. So rotor is mechanically rotated. So this rotor will be rotated mechanically with the help of some means at a speed very close to the synchronous speed of the machine, which is 120 F by P, and then the magnetic locking occurs. So rotating magnetic field will produce by the field current inducing voltage in the stator winding, whose frequency is in synchronism with the rotor speed. Then two rotating magnetic field are there. One is rotation of the rotor and other is the magnetic field of the stator winding. Magnetic field of the stator and rotor combine to produce the resultant air gap flux. So there is an air gap flux between the stator and the rotor, which is combining together the stator and the rotor magnetic field. The rotor, driven by a prime mover, pulls the stator field along with it. The rotor field and the resultant field are separated by a power angle or torque angle. So power angle or torque angle delta is very important because it is the angle by which the rotor field and the stator field are varies. So if we understand this with the help of a figure, then we have a rotor with the two poles north and south, and this is the rotor field, which is the central point. There are two different fields of the resultant, one for the generator and other for the motor. So the angle between the rotor field and the resultant field for the generator and the angle between the rotor field and the resultant field for the motor is shown. In the first lecture, we have already discussed the lagging and leading condition of the torque angle when it is operating in the generating mode or when it is operating in the motoring mode. So here we can see the torque angle or the power angle for the generating action or the motoring action. Then the south pole of the resultant flux lags behind the north pole of the rotor field. So we can see from the previous diagram that when the resultant flux of the south pole will be lagging behind the north pole of the rotor field. The rotor field will drag the resultant flux along with it, and torque is created by separation of the two fields due to the magnetic attraction of the opposite poles. So there will be a magnetic attraction because there are opposite poles, and as a result there will be a torque production in the rotor. Now as we apply more load, so when load increases, the torque angle gets bigger. So torque angle will gets bigger, that is the angle between the resultant field and the rotor field, and the generator will deliver more electric power, but it gets too big, greater than 90 degree, then the generator will lose synchronism. So these are principle where when we draw a angle between a power and delta, that is the power delivered by the generator and the torque angle. So at 90 degree, when delta is 90 degree, we have the maximum power. But when the load is continuously increasing, the delta, that is the torque angle, is increasing. Now, if the delta is increased beyond 90 degree, then what happens is that the generator will lose its synchronism and the generator will fail to excite. As the load changes, the phase current, stator field and power angle changes. So this is the principle of the synchronous machine, that when the load will change in any synchronous machine, whether it is in the form of a generator the current will change, that is the phase current, the stator field will change, and power angle delta will change. In order for the angle between the field to change, the speed must change at least momentarily. So we say that the rotor is rotating at synchronous speed, but even for the change in the load, there is a small change in the speed which is for the momentarily action. Hence, the speed tend to oscillate above about the synchronous speed. So when the rotor is rotating at synchronous speed due to the change of the load frequently, the rotor will oscillate about the synchronous speed. This principle is known as hunting, and these occur for a least momentarily of the time. To reduce the hunting, an additional winding has to be added in the synchronous machine. This hunting is very dangerous because the rotor will keep on oscillating and may lose its synchronism. So an additional winding will be provided to the synchronous machine to reduce the phenomena of hunting. So in this particular lecture, we have covered the principle of operation of the synchronous machine, and we have introduced a phenomena known as hunting, which is due to the oscillation of the rotor. And in the next lecture, we will see into deep what is hunting and how we can eradicate the phenomena of hunting. Thank you for now.